for the first time in 5 years, I'm going to be sharing the one thing that I did to take me from being stuck at 50K, 80K per month. I don't know if you guys, this is only for people who validated their offer. You're doing content, you've been, making money for a while now, but scaling past $1 million a year in cash, preferably in profit, has just been infinitely hard for you to pull off because you're trying to scale it linearly. You're trying to marginally focus on, booking 5, 10 more appointments per week. You're trying to get, maybe 20%, 30%, 40% more clients every month. And every time you try to grow, the investment grows proportional to the actual outcomes that you're wanting to create. So then it makes you not necessarily want to scale, because scale comes with more work, with more expenses. And you're like, what's the point? If me making multiple 6 figures a month, I'm going to be ending up with the same profits as if I stayed small. Well, that's what I thought too, right? For when I launched clientacquisition.io, my growth consulting business, I spent almost 11 months trying to figure out how to scale past, 300K per month, 500K per month. I was seeing people making $1 million a month back in 2021. And I just couldn't understand how they were capable of doing it, collect future cash and bring it to the present. And after studying, looking at some of the stuff that Hormozi was doing, looking at some of the people that he had learned from, I ended up finding this guy called Jason Fladlian. He had this boring presentation slide deck on YouTube. It was the most boring thing I've ever seen. But I paid attention. I was in this little coffee shop. I had my notebook. If you guys know me, I like to learn. I make a living from the things I learned. So sat down, learned everything from that presentation and applied it to my business. Instead of trying to scale through more people, more humans in my business, specifically on the sales side of things, I decided to figure out a better way to sell in a leveraged way, one to many. So instead of booking more calls for my sales team to close over the phone over Zoom, I would just get 500 people, 300 people in a single Zoom and show them what we do, teach them how we can help them, and make them an offer they can't say no to. And the first time I did this, I went from 80K per month to $180,000 a month in 30 days. I stopped doing it. I don't know why, but there's a tendency for us operators, especially if you're good enough, you end up being distracted by, a lot of things. So I stopped doing it. I stayed at 100K per month. That was good, but I was hovering around 120K per month for the following, let's say 3 months. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I do this again? Did it again. And I went from 130K a month to 330K per month. But this time I did not stop. I did it again the following month. We did 350K per month, almost in new cash, right? Because if you don't know anything about our business, we are like a productized service business. So we build a system, a playbook, and then we plug it into someone's business. So we don't have a business model where it's more about, retainers month after month, right? So it's almost like adding an extra $250,000 in new cash every single month, right? And then I was like, what's going on? I did another one the following month and did $580,000 in cash. That changed my life. I finally learned that the only thing that comes from working hard is growing older. So I learned this one lesson, which is essentially doing one-to-many sales, getting 500 people, 1,000 people to show up on a workshop, on a webinar, and educating in a format that makes the ones that are qualified wanting to do business with you right there and then. And since then, I've made over $50 million from it. I've never had more than 2 sales people on my team. I've never had more than 2 setters. And that's unheard of. Most people making the kind of revenue that I've been able to make over the last 3-4 years have a ridiculous sales team. Most people doing $1 million a month have an army of salespeople, but I never had that. And it's because of understanding and mastering this one skill. If you're someone doing 50K per month, 100K per month, or you've been stuck below 100K per month, primarily because it doesn't make sense for you to scale one-on-one sales. And you look at you project how much it's going to cost you for the amount of money you're going to make. And it just hasn't made sense. And you want to figure out how to actually do this one-to-many sales playbook. And, am I saying that I'm the master at this? No. But do I have data about doing it perfectly in our own way, in our own playbook? 100%. Think about this. I was doing $500,000 a month, my first $500,000 a month, or $1 million in 90 days in cash collected, with like 5,000 subscribers and like 2,000 followers on Instagram. Okay. And that's what I mean by this shit is just ridiculous. For most people to do that kind of revenue, they need like 10,000 leads. You need so many people. But for me, give me literally 200 people on a workshop, 250 people, 300 people, and I'll clear $250,000. And I decided that it's time for me to kind of like share the playbook, because I'm seeing a lot of people who don't realize that like things like VSLs just simply don't work anymore. People are, they understand that they're just watching this sales asset so they can be sold. And so most of them don't even watch it, right? And the cost of attention is going through the roof. Funny enough, the cost of just posting content and getting attention is actually free, has never been more free, right? But the conversion mechanisms have not been updated. I don't know anyone who's sharing this playbook and actually laying down the exact path to doing it. I know people today are doing it and making, ridiculous amounts of money. I don't have to mention the names. You guys know who's doing webinars and scaling, but they're back in play. So I'm going to be sharing the playbook, and I'm going to be doing it on a separate channel because I don't want to overwhelm. I have, a big audience watching this, is people just launching their first offers, their first business. They're looking to get their first few clients. So this may not necessarily apply for you guys. So stay on this channel. But when you guys are ready to do numbers and collapse time, literally do what you would do in a year, do it in a month. What you do in a single month, do it in a single day. Then this is the way forward. And really, but the truth of the matter is, it's all just one word: leverage. How do you get the most from the least amount of energy, effort, and time? I've never seen anything like it before, and I'm going to be sharing the entire playbook. If you are interested, if you're already running something great, you already are doing content, if you already have a backend that can sustain, a lot of clients, and you're not capped by fulfillment. Let's say like you're running an agency. I mean, could this work for an agency? Probably, but you probably wouldn't do it at the scale and to the volume that people with more productized services would do. So then you have a choice: productize your fulfillment, then scale. It's the only way that I've personally see it work, and it's the only way that I made it work. I didn't necessarily go from making $100K per month to $1 million every 90 days by having an unscalable backend. I had to productize, what we deliver to clients. And then once I figured that out, then I could just churn, through clients and acquire like 45 new clients in a single month and have that not break my back end. And I did that before AI. So today with AI, you can just do that shit at scale. You can do it infinitely better than I could. I don't necessarily want to talk about AI, but today I witnessed Cook that was built specifically for me. So for those that don't know, Cook AI has multiple versions of it. And today my team was token maxing, building me a new version, which allows me to manage 400 clients with agents, their entire context in one operating system, be able to create all the assets that we would normally deliver for clients with agents, be able to have all the data be centralized in a way that compounds. So one of the thing that keeps, AI from being valuable to knowledge workers, agency owners, coaches, consultants, info businesses like ours, is that even if AI is good on its own, well, it doesn't have access to all the context, all the data from my clients. So yeah, I can go into a Claude Code or Codex and talk to it, but then what? I'm going to spend 10 hours a day talking to the agent and giving it context. It doesn't work. So we built something cool, but that I'm going to be sharing on this channel, so you guys can expect that in the next coming weeks. But if you are operating a business and your biggest issue is your sales process is just not scalable, your marketing costs are going through the roof, and you want to figure out a way to be able to collect next year's cash today, next month cash today, next week's cash today, get people in your pipeline who haven't wanted to do business with you to want to do business with you today, then I want to show you how to do it. And for everyone who's just launching their first business, then this is going to be a masterclass on leverage. But speak to you guys soon. Take care. So I'm going to be creating a YouTube channel and also an Instagram page. So it's going to be called Cook with Serge. Go check those channels out, and see you guys in the next videos. Bye-bye.